Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today we are going to build an important part of finance intuition, how to value multiple cash flows. In real business life, decisions rarely involve $1 amount at one date. A loan creates payments over time. A lease creates regular obligations. A project may create savings this year, higher savings next year, and maintenance costs later. Finance gives us one powerful rule. Before we compare cash flows, we must move them to the same date. If our common date is today, we discount future cash flows back to present value. If our common date is later, we compound cash flows forward to future value. The formula is simple in spirit. Each cash flow is adjusted for time, and the farther away it is, the more adjustment it needs. For present value, we write PV equals C1 divided by 1 plus R, plus C2 divided by 1 plus R to the power of 2, etc. Each cash flow gets its own discount factor. That is our foundation for the entire lecture today. Now let us begin with uneven cash flows. An uneven cash flow stream means the amounts change from period to period. This is very common. Sales may grow, costs may rise, equipment may need more maintenance, or a project may produce different benefits each year. The safest method is to discount each cash flow separately. Suppose cash inflows are $12,000 in year 1, $18,000 in year 2, and $24,000 in year 3, with a 10% discount rate. We do not simply add them and say the value is $54,000. That would ignore timing. Instead, we discount each amount. The year 1 cash flow is divided by 110. The year 2 cash flow is divided by 110 squared. The year 3 cash flow is divided by 110 cubed. The present values are $10,909, $14,876, and $18,032. Together, they equal $43,817. Notice the lesson. $54,000 in future cash is not worth $54,000 today. Once we understand present value, we can understand net present value. Many decisions start with an immediate cash flow at time zero. Time zero means today. Because it happens today, we do not discount it. It is already expressed in today's dollars. Net present value combines the time zero cash flow with the present value of all future cash flows. In notation, net present value equals C0 plus the sum of CT divided by 1 plus R raised to the power of t, from t equals 1 to t equals n. Most of the time, C0 is negative because it represents an investment, a purchase, or an initial cost. Future cash inflows are usually positive. A positive NPV means the discounted benefits are greater than the cost measured today. A negative NPV means the expected benefits do not fully cover the cost after accounting for the time value of money. This is very important for managers. The issue is not only whether cash will be received later. The stronger issue is whether those future cash flows are valuable enough today to justify what we must give up now. That is the finance way of thinking about value creation. Now let's move from present value to future value. Sometimes we do not ask what a cash flow stream is worth today. Instead, we ask what it will accumulate to by a future date. This appears in reserve accounts, sinking funds, reinvested cash flows, and planning for future obligations. The rule is the mirror image of discounting. We move every cash flow to the target date. Earlier cash flows compound for more periods because they have more time to earn returns. Later cash flows compound for fewer periods because they arrive closer to the target date. Using the same 3 cash inflows, $12,000 in year 1, $18,000 in year 2, and $24,000 in year 3, the future value at the end of year 3 at 10% is calculated as 12,000 times 1.1 squared, plus 18,000 times 1.1, plus 24,000. The result is $58,320. The year 3 cash flow is already at the target date, so it is not compounded. timing tells us exactly what to do. A major simplification happens when cash flows are equal and occur at regular intervals. This pattern is called an annuity. Loan payments, lease payments, pension payments over a fixed horizon, and recurring savings often follow this structure. The most common version is the ordinary annuity. In an ordinary annuity, each payment occurs at the end of the period. If the payment is PMT, the rate is R, and the number of periods is N, the present value is PV equal to payment times 1 minus 1 plus R raised to the power of negative N, all divided by R. The bracketed part is the present value annuity factor. It tells us the present value of receiving $1 at the end of each period for N periods. Once we know that factor, we multiply by the actual payment. There is also a future value formula for an ordinary annuity. FV equals payment times 1 plus R raised to the power of N minus 1, all divided by R. This tells us how much a sequence of equal deposits or receipts will become by the end of the final period. Annuities save time because equal timing and equal amounts let us use one clean formula. Now, let's change the timing. An annuity due is a stream of equal payments where each payment occurs at the beginning of the period rather than the end. That small timing difference matters. Rent is often paid at the beginning of the month. Some insurance premiums and lease payments are also paid at the beginning of the period. Because each cash flow occurs one period earlier than in an ordinary annuity, every cash flow has one extra period of value. This gives us a very simple adjustment. PV of an annuity due equals PV of an ordinary annuity times 1 plus R. FV of an annuity due equals FV of an ordinary annuity times 1 plus R. The reason an annuity due is more valuable is simple. Receiving money earlier is better than receiving the same money later. Paying money earlier is also more costly than paying the same money later. The formula captures this idea by multiplying the ordinary annuity value by 1 plus the rate. So whenever you see equal payments, first identify the payment amount and number of periods. Then identify timing, end of period or beginning of period. Now we move to a powerful idea, the perpetuity. A perpetuity is a level cash flow stream that continues forever. In practical business analysis, forever does not mean we can predict every year perfectly. It means we are using a simplified model for long-lived, stable cash flows. Perpetuities are useful for thinking about preferred stock, endowments, long-term contracts, continuing values, and mature businesses with steady expected cash flows. If the first cash flow, C1, arrives one period from today and continues at the same amount forever, the present value is PV equals C1 divided by R. That is one of the cleanest formulas in finance. But the simplicity comes with strong assumptions. The cash flow must remain level. The discount rate must be appropriate. The first cash flow must arrive one period from today, not today. Also, perpetuity values are very sensitive to the discount rate. A cash flow of $200,000 per year is worth $2 million at a 10% rate. At 8%, it is worth $2.5 million. At 12%, it falls to about $1,667,000. Small rate changes can produce large valuation changes. A growing perpetuity adds one more layer. Instead of staying level forever, the cash flow grows at a constant rate forever. If the first cash flow one period from today is C1, the discount rate is R, and the constant growth rate is G, the formula is PV equals C1 divided by R minus G. This formula is widely used when analysts value stable growth cash flow streams. There is one condition we must respect. R must be greater than G. If growth is equal to or greater than the discount rate, the formula does not produce a finite economic value. In plain language, the model breaks down because the growth assumption is too strong relative to the required return. The most important part of the formula is the denominator, R minus G. When R and G are close together, the denominator becomes small, and the valuation becomes very large. That is why aggressive growth assumptions can overstate value. Growing perpetuities are useful, but they require discipline. The analyst must ask whether the growth rate is realistic, sustainable, and consistent with the risk of the cash flow. Now let's connect annuities to loans. A loan is a cash flow contract. The borrower receives money today and promises to make future payments. The lender gives up money today and receives those future payments. For a fully amortizing loan with equal payments at the end of each period, the loan amount is the present value of the promised payments. This is exactly the ordinary annuity structure. We can write loan amount equals to payment times 1 minus 1 plus r to the power of negative n divided by r. Solving for the payment gives payment equals to r times loan amount divided by 1 minus 1 plus r to the power of negative n. This payment is the amount that fully pays off the loan over n periods at rate r. Each payment has two parts. The first part is interest, calculated as the periodic rate times the beginning loan balance. The second part is principal repayment, which reduces the outstanding balance. At the start of the loan, the balance is high, so the interest portion is high. Later, as the balance falls, interest becomes smaller and principal repayment becomes larger. The payment can stay constant while its composition changes. Finally, let's bring the pieces together. Multiple cash flow valuation is not just mathematics. It is a disciplined way to understand timing, risk, growth, and financing structure. When cash flows are uneven, value them period by period. When cash flows are equal and regular, annuity formulas may be appropriate. When cash flows continue indefinitely, perpetuity formulas may help, but only if the assumptions are reasonable. When cash flows grow forever, the growth rate must be less than the discount rate. When analyzing a loan, separate the total payment from interest expense and principal repayment. This is the managerial insight. The same total dollars can have different values depending on when they occur. A large benefit far in the future may have a modest value today. A financing plan may reduce the immediate cash burden but create future obligations. A higher discount rate lowers present value and makes distant cash flows less powerful. As finance professionals, we do not only calculate numbers, we explain why the number changes when assumptions change. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you in the next video.